Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man wala, amma ba'du. Then we are on the 6th page from the back of the Mus'haf, dealing with Surah Al-Zalzalah and Surah Al-Adiyat. Surah Al-Zalzalah. Al-Zalzalah is a form of verb that has 4 roots, and they are repeated. 2 of them are repeated. Za, lam, za, lam. And it is majroor, mudaf ilay to surah. Al-Zalzalah, this 4-letter root, comes from the meaning to shake and to quake. And so from that we have the word the earthquake, and so on and so forth, right? The shaking, the earthquake, as it might be called in different translations of the Quran. So we have Surah Al-Zalzalah. He starts Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, which we discussed in Al-Fatiha and as well in a previous class. He starts this surah, إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا. إِذَا here is a dharf. It is a dharf, meaning an adverb. It has the meaning of when, and it could also have the meaning of if or when. Either it's a dharf mabni ala sukoon, right? The sukoon on that alif. Either zulzilati. Zulzila, as we said, from zaylam means to shake and to quake, right? To shiver, to rock, to tremble. Either zulzilati. Zulzila here is majhul, not zalzala, but zulzila. Zalzala would be ma'ruf, meaning it would be an active, not ma'ruf, but ma'ruf. It would be an active verb. Majhul here meaning a passive verb, right? It's not necessarily doing the shaking, al-ardu, but it is being shook. It in itself is not doing the shaking, but it is being shook, meaning it is not causing it itself. Rather, Allah Azza wa Jal, and it is not mentioned here, that's why we say majhul, He is the one causing it to shake, right? Al-ardu is called the na'ib al-fa'il. Normally, it is the object of the verb. When the earth is shooken, like in English, when we say, when the earth is shooken, right? The earth here would be the object of the verb. What got shook? The earth. But because it is in a passive form, right? Then when the earth is shooken, it became the subject. وَإِذَا, in this ta here, right? This ta is a ta ta'nitha sakina, showing us that ard is a feminine word. And the kasr on that ta is for reading purposes. We cannot have a ta on a sukoon on the ta and a sukoon on this lam here. We have to have something in between, right? إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ. When the earth is shaken. When the earth is shaken, زِلْزَالَهَا. Zilzal or zilzala here is called maf'ulun mutlaq. It is a way of emphasizing what is taking place here. It is a way of emphasizing what is taking place, right, as far as this zilzala. So when the earth is shaken, a tremendous shaking, right? Zilzalaha. And then this ha refers to the earth. When the earth is shaken or caused to shake, it's tremendous shaking. وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا. وَأَخْرَجَ. أَخْرَجَ comes, wow is harfu atf, and it means and. أخرج comes from the root خَرَجِيم, right? And this is form 4, meaning to extract and to take out. وأخرجت, the ta is a ta'nith sakina because it is referring to what the ard is doing. The ard here in this particular word is your fa'il. Is your fa'il. It's the doer of the verb. The earth now is taking out. It's extracting. It's extracting what? أثقالها. أثقالها. أخرج or أخرجت is a fi'l mudari, is a present tense verb, right? مبني على فتحة. The ta is a ta ta'nith sakina. The kasra here is for reading purposes. Again, because it should have a sukoon on it. And we have a sukoon on the lam for al-ard. So we put a kasra there for reading purposes to prevent the meeting of two sukoons. وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا. أَثْقَالَ, again, it comes from the root which we had yesterday, tha, qaf, lam, right? Meaning something heavy. Athqal, athqal would be the meaning of burdens, right? The meaning of burdens or loads, something that it is carrying. The singular is thaqal, athqal is the plural. And here it is mansub because it is the maf'ulun bihi. It is the maf'ulun bihi, the object of the verb. So when the earth extracts or throws out, when it gets rid of, athqalaha, its burdens, ha is in a position of being majroor, mudaf ilay, referring back to the earth's burdens. When the earth throws out its burdens, gets rid of, extracts, takes out its burdens, meaning its dead people, as well as we'll see inside of the dead animals. The animals as well will be judged on the day of judgment, even though they will be destroyed after the judgment, and they will be turned into dust or something, and they will not enter the paradise, but they will be judged. So when it extracts all of its dead, as well as we'll see part of its athqal, part of its burdens, part of its loads, is that information that it has been carrying. The information that it has been carrying, right? What we do on the earth, right? What we do on the earth is part of its athqal, right? Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. What we do on the earth is part of the athqal. So, as we'll see, inshallah ta'ala. إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا, when the earth shakes its shaking, when it quakes, right? وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا, and when the earth extracts or takes out or pushes out or gets rid of its burdens, its loads. وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا لَهَا. Wa, here's harfu atf. Qala is a past tense verb. Qala, right? Mabni ala fatha. وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ. Al-insanu means to, or it means people, mankind, a person, depending on the context. It could be singular or plural depending on its context. وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا لَهَا. Here it's going to be people, and the people are going to say, it's a fa'il, and it is marfu with the dhamma. وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ, and the people will say, or a person will say, مَا لَهَا. مَا لَهَا. Ma here is a mubtada, right? It means what? It's harf al-istifham. It's a particle of questioning. Ma, it's in a position of being marfu as a mubtada. Ma laha. La is a harf jar. Ha is a dhamir, and it is majroor, but because it is mabni, then we don't get to see the sign of it being majroor. And then laha is in the position of being the khabar, marfu. Ma laha, meaning وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا لَهَا, and a person will say, what is its problem? Ma laha, what is with it? What is with it? Right? What is the issue of the earth? Why is it doing this? Why is it spitting us out? Why is it telling on us? Right? Why is it relieving this burden? Why is it telling on us? يَوْمَئِذٍ تُحَدِّثُ أَخْبَارَهَا. This is when this is going to take place. وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا لَهَا يَوْمَ. Yawma is a dharf al-zaman. That's why it's mansoob here. A dharf is mansoob, right? Yawma, a particle or an adverb of time. The day, yawma idhin. Idh is normally, right? Is normally mabni ala sukun. Idh, meaning when or that day. Here it means like that day, the day when. And it is majroor here because of being mudaf ilay. Yawma idhin. The day when or that day when. Tuhaddithu, from haddatha, yuhaddithu, form 2 of ha, dal, tha. Right? Meaning to talk. And it's feminine here, meaning anti, or hiya, meaning hiya, she, because the earth, as we said, is a feminine word. Tuhaddithu, yawma idhin, the day when, tuhaddithu, she talks, akhbaraha. Akhbaraha comes from khabar. Khabar is news or information. It's news or information, right? Akhbar is the plural of that. And it is mansoob because it is the object of what she's talking. What is she talking? What is the earth saying? The earth is saying it's news, which is part of, we said, it's athqal. It's mansoob, right? She's telling her news. Athqalaha. Ha here is in a position of being majroor, mudaf ilay. The day when the earth will tell its news, its information, everything that took place on the earth, it will start to tell it, right? And the insan, the person, the mankind, is saying, malaha, why, what is this? What is the purpose of this? What's going on with the earth? بِأَنَّ رَبَّكَ أَوْحَى لَهَا. بِأَنَّ B here is a harf jar, right? B here is a harf jar. Anna, right, is a harf nasikh wa nasib, and it means emphasis. Bi-anna. Bi-anna is basically with the meaning here, because. Like li-anna. It means basically here the meaning of because. Bi-anna rabbaka. Rabb, as we know, is your Lord. Right? Rabb is mansoob after anna. And ka is in a position of being majroor mudaf ilay. Bi anna rabbaka, because your Lord. Awha laha. Awha comes from the root wah. Wow ha ya. Meaning to inspire. And this is form 4. Awha is form 4. Meaning to inspire. To command. To tell him, or to tell the earth to do so. Awha laha. La is a harf jar, it's a preposition, right? And ha is in a position of being majroor because of that. Awha laha, because the earth, because your Lord, awha, commanded for it, basically for it to do so. Why is it telling? Malaha. Why is it telling? بِأَنَّ رَبَّكَ أَوْحَى لَهَا. Because your Lord had inspired to it to do so. Right? Because your Lord inspired for it to do so. يَوْمَئِذٍ, again, yawm, being a dharf al-zaman, being a dharf al-zaman, an adverb of time, meaning the day. يَوْمَئِذ, mudaf ilay. The day when يَصْدُرُ النَّاسُ أَشْتَاتًا. Right? أَشْتَاتًا. يَصْدُرُ النَّاسِ. يَصْدُرُ النَّاسِ. يَصْدُرُ from sadara. And it means here to come out. To come out, because we're talking about the human beings coming out, right? So they will come out, they will come out or proceed from the graves. Sadar, for instance, if you were to look up on Twitter or something like that and look up Sadar Hadithan, it would look it would mean, or it means basically newly produced, newly it came out recently, new releases, right? So this sadar means to come out, like when you release a book. Sadar hadithan yasdurun nasu, the people will come out, the people will proceed out. Yawma'idhin, that day. Nas is your file, marfu with the dhamma. Ashtatan, ashtatan, right, is the plural of shat. Shat. Right? It's the plural of shat. Meaning something diverse or in groups, or like this. A group. Shat would be a group, or a something which is separate. Ashtatan would be basically in groups, in divided groups. Then they will come out ashtatan. And ashtatan here is your hal, your condition. How are they going to? Yasduru ashtatan. It's mansub because it is your hal, your condition. How are you coming out? How are the people going to be coming out? They're going to be coming out in groups. Why in groups? Li yuraw a'malahum. Li, this lam here is a harf jar, right? No, actually it's not harf jar. Here is the lam at-ta'lil. Lam, skip that one. Lam at-ta'lil. Harf jar only appears before a noun. And this is a verb here. So this lam is a lam at-ta'lil. Why are they being in groups? Li yuraw. Again, yara, from ra'a, yara, to see. Here, yura, we can see this dhamma showing us that it is majhul. It is majhul. It is passive, right? It is passive. And it is majzoom after this lam ta'lil. Usually it would be yurawna. But we dropped our noon because of our lam. Our lam caused us to drop the noon, making it majzoom. We put an alif there to protect the waw. Li yuraw. The passive of yara, to see, would be to show. That I see it, rather someone else is making me see it. So they're showing me. Li yuraw a'malahum. A'mal, the plural of amal, of course we know that. And it is mansub because it's the object of what they are seeing or being shown. They're showing a'malahum. Their deeds, not necessarily good deeds, their deeds. Hum, majrur mudaf ilayh. So they are coming out. They are being released from the graves in groups. Yawma'idhin yasdurun nasu ashtatan liyuraw a'malahum. Right? In order to be shown their deeds. And all of the deeds of the human beings are not alike. They're not alike. So therefore, they are being shown their deed. Those who have good deeds will be in one group. Those who have bad deeds will be in another group. And those inside those groups will also be of varying levels. Right? This shadda on this lam here is for reading purposes. As we probably know from studying some tajweed. Yawma'idhin yasdurun nasu ashtatal. We wouldn't say ashtatan unless we're stopping, right? Ashtatal liyuraw a'malahum, right? So just for that purpose of knowing why that shadda is on there. So we say ashtatal liyuraw a'malahum. They will come out, they will proceed from their graves on that day, the people in groups, so that they can be shown their deeds. فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى. فَمَنْ, So whoever, fa harf istinafiya, right? It's a harf, a particle of showing something continuing, right? Something in continuous. Man here is your mubtada. It is marfu'. So whoever, ya'mal. And it is also a condition, right? It is also a condition. We're saying whoever does this, then that. And whenever we have a condition, then it makes the verbs majzoom. It makes them majzoom. So we say فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ. The sukoon on that men after on يَعْمَلْ after men, because it is a condition. فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ. Whoever does the good deed, or whoever does the deed, يَعْمَلْ, or whoever acts. مِثْقَالَ. Whoever does what? مِثْقَالَ. Mithqala is your maf'ulun bihi. Whoever does a mithqala. Mithqala comes from ta, qaf, lam, meaning to be heavy, right? But here, not necessarily to be heavy. Here it means a weight. A weight. Whoever does the weight. Mithqala, maf'ulun bihi, mansub. Dharratin. Mithqala dharratin. The weight of a dharra. Mudaf ilay, majroor. With the kasras as we see. Mithqala dharra requires some understanding from us. Mithqala dharra can be a few things when we look into the tafsir. Especially a modern tafsir, then they have a new explanation of it. Which isn't wrong in the big scheme of things, but is wrong in the tafsir. What do we mean? Dharra can be an ant. Can be an ant, the little bitty animal. Mithqala dharra. What weight does an ant have? It doesn't have anything, right? It doesn't have any kind of weight to it, right? And the Salaf knew what ants were. The Sahaba, they knew what an ant was. A dharra can also be that when light shines in your room through this window, you have a sunbeam show, you have little particles of dust in that light. That out here in the darkness, you don't really see them. But in that beam of light, you see that dust. This is also the meaning of dharra, right? And that, what weight does it have? It doesn't have anything. And me and my son were talking about it. You couldn't even catch one of those particles of dust if you wanted to. So how could you weigh it? That's how weak it is, right? And the Salaf knew what the dharra is when it comes to the being the dust. But a new translation of dharra is the meaning of an atom. And I don't know how to necessarily draw an atom, but it's something like this, right? The atom, right? The smallest thing that we know that exists, and then we can split the atom and it has this in the atom. The weight of an atom. Some people say the weight of an atom. This is an incorrect tafsir of the Quran. Why? Because the Salaf didn't know what an atom was. And when the Salaf do not have an explanation for something, we do not have a better explanation than them. We do not have a more detailed explanation of the Quran than they did. We understand the Quran the way they did. If we open it up here, then we have to open it up in other places as well. The door to having a different understanding than they did. And we do not open that door. Rather, we understand it the way the Salaf did. So we either translate dharra as ant, or we translate it as a particle of dust. But the word atom, we stay away from it. And Allah knows best. فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ. So whoever does mithqala dharratin, the weight of an ant, we'll just say here, the weight of an ant, khayran. Ya'mal khayran. Khayran is mansoob because it is distinguishing, it's called tamyiz. It's distinguishing what kind of, right? What kind of mithqala dharra? What kind of mithqala dharra? A good one. Mithqala dharratin khayran. Whoever does this weight of an atom of good, weight of an atom of good, yarahu. Yara. And as we said, ra'a, yara. We can see the alif here, the alif maksura. Here, it's missing. Why? because it's going back to this men. This men, which we said is a conditional word, it makes two verbs majzoom. And the way of it becoming majzoom is by dropping the weak letter. Yarahu. Men فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى. So whoever does the weight of an ant of good, yarahu, he's going to see it. Who here is in the position of being the maf'ulun bihi. He's going to see it. But because it's mabni, then we don't get to see the sign of nasb upon it. Then وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ, and whoever يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ, it's all the same here. All the same is above. And whoever performs or does or works the weight of an ant, sharran, evil. Again, this is tamyiz, yarahu. And his man is shartiya, it has conditions. And so therefore, both ya'mal and yara are majzoom. Yara here is majzoom by dropping the weak letter, which is the alif maksura. So whoever does the good deed, he will see it. And whoever does the weight of a particle of dust or the weight of an ant and good, he will see it. And whoever does the weight of the particle of dust or an ant in evil, he will see it. This shows us that we should not be belittling any good deeds. We should not belittle any good deeds, right? No good deeds should be belittled, no matter how small they are. Smiling in the face of your brother or sister, or saying a kind word to them, making dua for them. Any small good deed, we should not overlook it, for we will see it on the day of judgment. And we learned in the very first class we did that all good deeds, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised us, are given 10 of their likes. Nor should we belittle any evil deeds. We should say, oh, it's only a minor sin. Oh, it's only once. Oh, it's only this. No matter how small it is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make us see it on the day of judgment. Are there any questions about this surah, whether from the Arabic or from the grammar or from the meanings? طيب. Here, we have to go to the next page when we're done, but this is Surah Al-Adiyat. Surah Al-Adiyat. Al-Adiyat is majroor because it is mudaf ilayh to surah, as always, as we show. And Al-Adiyat comes from Ain, Dal, Waw. Ain, Dal, Waw. Which means to run and to speed, right? To run and to speed and to overstep, right? To go fast, right? Al-Adiyat is a fa'il, feminine fa'il from this root, and it's referring to the horses which are running. Those horses which are running. Right, so they translate it as the galloping steeds, or other than that, I'm not sure what the Noble Quran here. Let me see what the Noble Quran translates it as real quick. By the steeds that run, right? By the running steeds, or the steeds that run. Those horses that run. So this is the name of the surah of those horses that are running, those galloping studs or horses. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wal Adiyati Dabha. Wow here, this wow here is a harf qasam, or a harf qasam. It is a particle of swearing, right? And it's causing the noun after it to be majroor. So this kasra here is a sign of it being majroor. Allah is swearing by those horses that run. Right? Dabha. Dabha Let me write it again. Dabha means those horses that are the sound that a horse makes when it is running. The sound that a horse makes when it's running through its nose. Right? This breathing through its nose, this snorting, as we'll say. This snorting through the nose. Right? This is what Allah is swearing by. Wal adiyati dabha. Right? Those horses that have this snorting nose are those horses that are running and they are snorting. They are breathing through their noses. Right? Allah is swearing by them. Dabha is considered by some to be the maf'ulun mutlaq. Now we know maf'ulun mutlaq. Maf'ulun mutlaq is describing a verb using the same letters, using the same root letters as the verb. But here we don't have a verb. So what do they mean? It means something here is missing, right? Something there is missing, which would be yadbihna. Those that are horsing, those wal adiyati, those running horses, yadbihna dabha. They're snorting a snort, or they're snorting. But this could also be considered the hal by some others. Those horses, and their condition is they are snorting. Right? فَالْمُورِيَاتِ قَدْهَا. فَالْمُورِيَاتِ قَدْهَا. Muriya comes from waw, ra, alif. Waw, ra, alif, meaning to strike or to start a fire. Right here, it's the active participle, feminine active participle. Right? The singular is murin. Murin. Right? Again, he's describing the horses. Wal muriyati qadha. And those who are striking the fire. He's still referring back to the adiyat. Those who are striking the fire, qadha. Qadha comes from qaf dal ha, which is obvious to us. Means that they are, it has to do with making sparks. They are striking a fire, making sparks, meaning with their hooves. As they're running fast and their hooves hit the rocks spark. The rocks spark. فَالْمُورِيَاتِ قَدْحًا. And those horses that are causing sparks, that are striking a fire, causing sparks with their hooves. فَالْمُغِيرَاتِ صُبْحًا. فَالْمُغِيرَاتِ. Mughirati comes from ghain, waw, ra. Ghain, waw, ra, which means to penetrate. To penetrate. Mughira is the singular for masculine would be mughir. And then for feminine, mughira. And then plural, mughirat. Right? Mughirat. Meaning those that penetrate. Right? Because the Prophet ﷺ used to, when he went to attack an army, he would go and wait in the morning outside the city. If he heard the adhan, then he would not attack. If he did not hear the adhan, then he would attack. So those that would penetrate, those who would go in and penetrate and raid, subha. Subha here is a dharf as a man. It is an adverb of time. So it's mansub, and it means in the morning time. Those that penetrate, those that do the raid in the morning time. So Allah Azza wa Jalla says so far about these horses, wal adiyati dabha. Those horses that are running, snorting out of running so fast. Fal muriyati qadha. And they are striking, those that are striking fire with their footsteps, with their hooves, they're making sparks. فَالْمُغِيرَاتِ صُبْحًا. And those who are penetrating in the morning. فَأَثَرْنَ بِهِ نَقْعًا. فَأَثَرْنَ بِهِ نَقْعًا. Fa here is a harf isti'nafiyya or harf atf. It could be either one, right? It's a continuation, right? Showing a continuation. Atharna comes from athara, meaning to have an effect, right? To have an effect. Now, the noon on the end is the noon and niswa, because all of these horses, as we showed, they are feminine. So when we talk about them here, they're talked about with the noon and niswa, right? What are they doing? Atharna. Atharna is a fil madi. It's a past tense verb. Athara means to have an effect. It is mebni al sukun because of the noon and niswa. Atharna, right? Atharna. So they have an effect. Bihi, meaning with this running, right? With this running, with this striking, with this raiding. Fa'atharna bihi. Then they have an effect, right? With all of that running and sparking and raiding. فَأَثَّرْنَ بِهِ. Then they have an effect with it, with all of that. bihi harf jar, wahi ismu majroor. Naq'a. Naq'a is your maf'ulun bihi. What's the effect that they are having? The effect that they're having is naq'a, meaning clouds of dust. Naq'a are clouds of dust. So the effect that they're having is what? Clouds of dust. Maf'ulun bihi. So they're running, they're snorting, they're striking sparks. We know that from this raiding and running, that they will create sparks of dust. They will create clouds of dust from their running. Naq'a are clouds of dust, are dust clouds. فَوَسَطْنَ بِهِ جَمْعًا. Fa is again harful atf or harf isti'nafiyya of continuation or connection. Wasatna, from wasata, to be in the middle. To be in the middle. And again, the noon and niswa. It's past tense verb, mebni ala sukun, due to the noon and niswa being added to it. Noon and niswa because of the horses being feminine here. Fawasatna bihi jam'a. So do, again, bihi, ismu jar wa majroor. The meaning of it here is because of this galloping and racing and running and penetrating. فَوَسَطْنَ بِهِ جَمْعًا. So they came in the middle. They came in the middle. جَمْعًا. مَفْعُولٌ بِهِ. What did they came? They came all together. جَمْعًا. مَفْعُولٌ بِهِ mansub with a fatha, as we can see. Meaning they came in the middle all together. They came in the middle all together. The horses, due to their penetrating and going in, they came in the middle. As we can see, the bravery of a person is when he stands in the middle of the fight, not on the outside ready to run. So these horses, due to their bravery, have reached the middle, the depth of the fighting, right? They are in the middle of the enemy doing the fighting. So Allah Azza wa Jalla describes these horses. وَالْعَادِيَاتِ ضَبْحًا. Those horses that are running and doing so fast that they're snorting. فَالْمُورِيَاتِ قَدْحًا. And so they are stomping, striking, and making sparks with their hooves. فَالْمُغِيرَاتِ صُبْحًا. And they're penetrating into the armies, into the cities in the morning time. فَأَثَرْنَ بِهِ نَقْعًا. So with that they have made the effect of dust clouds due to all of this that they're doing. فَوَسَطْنَ بِهِ جَمْعًا. And they ended up in the middle altogether due to all of this. They are in the middle of the fight. Allah did all of this with a swear. Wal adiyati. I swear. Allah is swearing by these horses that are doing this. What is he swearing for them for? Why? He swore by these things. Now, what is the reason for him swearing? Innal insana li rabbihi lakanud. Innal insan. Inna is a harf nasikh, right? And it is meant for tawkeed. It is meant for emphasis. It means indeed, surely, truly, certainly, verily, right? Al insan, mankind, right? Insan is mansub after the inna. Innal insana, right, is ismu inna, li rabbihi lakanud. Verily mankind, li rabbihi. Li here is harf jar. Rabbi is majroor after the li. And rabbihi is majroor also mudaf ilayh. He is to his Lord. Mankind to his Lord lakanud. This lam here is a lam of tawkid, of emphasis, right? He is what? He is indeed. He is surely. We already have inna, but now we have it again. La kanud. He is kanud. Kanud is from kaf nun dal, meaning ungrateful. Ungrateful. Meaning to deny the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He doesn't consider them. He doesn't care about them. He considers maybe he's worthy of them. It's not something that Allah bestowed upon him as a favor, but rather he deserves them. Or he just attributes them to Mother Nature, and that there is no reason or cause behind them, just the way it is for everybody. Innal insana li rabbihi lakanud. He is to his Lord ungrateful. He's ungrateful to his Lord. Now the question is, why did Allah swear by these horses? What is the purpose of using the horse here? Previously said, wal asr, innal insana lafi khusr. He swore by the time. We knew that whatever Allah Azza wa Jal, he swears by something which is important. He swears by something which is important. And here, he swore by these horses. And there are a number of benefits to swearing by the horses. Number one, the importance of jihad. The importance of jihad in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The importance of horses. The importance of horses in Islam. Islam places a great emphasis on being able to ride a horse and being able to be skilled in horses. And horses, the Arabian horses, due to an authentic hadith, they make dua for their owner. Right? Also, that these horses have no fear. They're the creation of Allah, and they're going into this battle, and they're working hard and striving and snorting and sweating and causing fire with their hooves. And then here you are as a mankind, the best of creation. خَلَقْنَاكُمْ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. We created you in the best of molds, and here you are. لِرَبِّكَ لَكَنُودٍ. You're to your Lord, you're being ungrateful. You have all of these things to help you in the battle. Horses, a person on a horse has a better advantage than a person who doesn't have a horse in a battle. All of these things, and yet here you are to your Lord, ungrateful. These horses, they're grateful. They're doing all this work. You're lazy. You're ungrateful. Right? Innal insana li rabbihi lakanud. He is to his Lord, mankind, and is to his Lord ungrateful. Right? He is ungrateful. Wa innahu wa harf atf. Wow, harfu atf. Innahu, inna harf nasikh, for tawkeed, for emphasis. Right? Innahu is mansoob because it's the ismu inna, but because it's mebni, we don't get to see the sign of being mansoob. Wa innahu, and verily he, ala dhalika la shahid, and verily he is ala dhalik. Ala dhalik is jar wa majroor, although dhalika is ismu ishara, it's mebni on this fatha, so we don't get to see the sign of jar. Ala dhalika, he is upon that, meaning upon that ungratefulness. La shahid, this lam is a lam of emphasis, lam at-tawkeed. Shahid is the khabar of inna. It's the khabar of inna, marfu', right? Marfu' with the dhamma here. He is shahid. He is a witness of that. Meaning, he's a witness of that ungratefulness due to his lack of action. Due to his lack of action. Due to his love of the dunya and preferring the life of this world over the life of the hereafter. He is a witness to that. Right? He is a witness ala dhalik. وَإِنَّهُ واو حرف عطف إن حرف النسخ والتوكيد هو اسم إن منصوب, although it is a dhamir mabni ala dhamma, so we don't get to see the nasb here. Same thing as the previous ayah. وَإِنَّهُ, and indeed he is لِحُبِّ الْخَيْرِ لَشَدِيد. He is لِحُبِّ الْخَيْرِ. Li is a harf jar, right, meaning for or to. Hub is ismu majroor. The sign of it being majroor is the kasra here, right? لِحُبِّ الْخَيْرِ. حُبُّ الْخَيْرِ. Khair is majroor mudaf ilayh. And he is for loving good, or in his love of good. La shadid. La, here's a lam of emphasis, and shadid is the khabru inna, marfu'. He is shadid. He is extreme. Right? He is intense. He is extreme in his love of good, meaning the love of the dunya. It doesn't mean the love of the good of the hereafter. Here it means hubbul khair, meaning to have nice horses and fancy houses and lots of wives and all of these things. Innahu li hubbil khairi la shadid. Right? He wants to he works for the dunya, sweating and snorting the way the horses sweat and snort for Allah Azza wa Jalla in the way of Allah. Right? He kills himself for this dunya the way those horses go in the middle of the battle and some of them get killed in the way of Allah. وَإِنَّهُ لِحُبِّ الْخَيْرِ لَشَدِيدٌ. أَفَلَا يَعْلَمُ إِذَا بُعْثِرَ مَا فِي الْقُبُورِ. أَفَلَا يَعْلَمُ. Here is this Hamza is a question, but a way, not necessarily a question, but one to cause you to have attention. Not really asking a question, but causing you to pay attention. Fa is they say tazniya here, or it could also be other than that, meaning to beautify the phrase there. And the la is a la of a nafiya, of negating. Afala ya'lamu. Ya'lamu, to know. He knows. Does he not know? Idha is a dharf, talking about the future, and it means if or when. Bu'thira. Bu'thira is a 4-letter root. Ba, ain, ta, ra. Most of our letters we have are 3-letter, are verbs. This one is a 4-letter root. Bu'thira means to be exposed or to turned out. Here it is passive. It is majhul. Bu'thira. Right? Bu'thira. Ma fil kubur. Bu'thira ma. Ma here is your na'ib fa'il. It is your na'ib fa'il. What would normally be the object of the verb, here it is your fa'il, because the sentence is passive. Bu'thira. When it is turned out, when it is exposed, when it is pushed out. Ma, what? Fil kubur. What is in the graves? Jar wa majroor. Does he not know when what is in the graves will be exposed, when it will be turned out, when it will be pushed out? Bu'thira. Exposed, brought out. And then he continues on the next page. 1 second. وَحُصِّلَ مَا فِي الصُّدُورِ. Wa is harf atf. Hussila is again majhul. It is again majhul from hassala, form 2, right? Meaning to be made known as well. to be made known. Right? To be made known. Bu'thira would be to be exposed. Hussila is mean to be made known. Right? To be made known. Ma fi sudur. What will be made known? Ma fi sudur. The same Arabic grammar. What is in the hearts? What is in the hearts will be made known. When the graves will expose what is there, and what is in the hearts will be exposed. When the graves make known what is there, meaning they spit out what is in the graves, and the hearts what is in the hearts will be made known. Inna rabbahum bihim yawma'idhin la khabir. Inna harfu nasikh. Harfu nasikh. Wa tawkid. It is a particle of being emphasis here. Right? Rabbahum. Inna rabbahum. Rabba is ismu inna. Mansub. Rabbahum mudaf mudaf ilay. Bihim. Indeed. Their Lord. Bihim. Jar wa majroor. Meaning with them. Their Lord with them. Yawma'idhin. We had yawma on that day. It's a particle between yawm and id, but because id is mudaf ilay, we can see the jar there. Yawma'idhin. On that day, la khabir. Your Lord with them on that day, la khabir. The lam is a lam of tawkid, a lam of emphasis. Wa khabir is khabaru inna. Is khabaru inna. Marfu'. Right? That's why we see the dhammas there. The meme on there is if you were to continue to the bismillah. But khabir, marfu' because of it is khabaru inna. And khabir means well acquainted, knowledgeable, aware. Indeed, your Lord will be on that day with them, or will be with them on that day, well acquainted with what they did. He already knows in this life and in the next what we did. And he's telling us, he is swearing in this surah, by those horses who put their life on the line and put forth all effort in his way, that indeed mankind, the best of creation, is ungrateful. Right? And on that, he is a shaheed. He is a witness to that by his deeds and by his love of the dunya. That the same way those horses sacrificed themselves and their health and their wealth and all of their well-being for Allah, then we do that same thing, لِحُبِّ الْخَيْرِ, for the love of good, meaning the love of this dunya. Right? And we are going to be on the day that the earth, the graves, what is in them is turned up and exposed, and what is in the hearts is exposed. Then on that day your Lord will be well aware and well acquainted with what we used to do. Are there any questions of the Arabic or the meanings of the words or the grammar or the meanings as a whole, the tafsir in general, the very basic general tafsir? Okay, I guess there are no questions. Inshallah ta'ala, tomorrow, bi'idhnillah ta'ala, we will go over Surah Al-Qadr and Surah Al-Bayyinah. Surah Al-Qadri wa Surah Al-Bayyinah. Bi'idhnillah. And Surah Al-Bayyinah, as we can see, goes over 2 lines onto the next page. So it will take us the full hour, bi'idhnillah ta'ala, right? Hopefully no more than that, but definitely it will take us, Allah knows best, the full hour to cover these. And then after that we will have 2 more surahs on Yawm al-Jumu'ah, which will take us the whole hour. And then after that we'll figure out what we'll do, because the pages will be broken up in a much more difficult fashion. So why does Wasatna have a noon in this one? Because of the horses. The horses here, Al-Adiyat, Al-Muriyat, Al-Mughirat, they are feminine. So Allah referred to them with the Nun and Niswa. And this is something that we learned in our previous other classes that we've had, and I believe you were in them, that the rules of aqil and ghayr aqil, those things which have intellect and don't have intellect, those things which are animate and inanimate and all of that, those rules that were laid down by Sibawayh and other than him and all that, those are not, Allah is not confined to those rules. Allah is not confined to those rules, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rather, those rules were extracted from the Quran, and those rules do not always apply. So while we think horses in general should be spoken about in a fashion where they are feminine singular because they're ghayr aql, Allah Azza wa Jal, He chose here to speak about them in the as if they were aql, instead of ghayr aql. He talked about them as if they were aql. So he used what we might say like the human form or the aql form of plural here. Wasatna. The same thing with before that. Atharna. The same thing. The Nun and Niswa. Any other questions? Wafikum barak. Inshallah ta'ala, we'll see you tomorrow. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy upon you during your fast and make it easy for you to worship your Lord and to give you the strength to continue throughout the month the way that you started in the beginning of the month, and may you make the best of our deeds the last of them. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.